You've heard your backyard birds chirp, but what if they're talking about something you can't see? A sudden silence, a rapid burst of song, a warning that a storm is coming, and it's more than just a guess. Stay to the end because you'll learn how they survive the chaos they see coming. Number 1. The sound of silence. A sudden, eerie hush that cuts through your yard like a blade. In the moments before a storm, birds like the dark-eyed Junco shut off their songs, their usual chatter replaced by an unsettling quiet. This silence is not random, it's a survival strategy, a signal passed down through generations. The Cornell Lab of Ornithology has documented this behavior, noting that these birds can sense the coming storm long before the first drop falls. It's as if the air itself whispers a warning they are trained to hear. Your birds are not just reacting, they are listening for survival. But silence is not the only signal birds use when danger looms. Some species, like the European starling, employ a different kind of communication, mimicry. They copy the calls of other birds, creating a cacophony that spreads the warning across flocks. This behavior is not just instinct, it's a complex social strategy that helps entire groups prepare for what's coming. A 2021 study in animal behavior revealed that birds can detect pressure changes up to 30 minutes before a storm, giving them time to react. Your yard may seem still, but beneath the surface, a network of silent signals is at work. What this means for you is simple. The next time you hear an unnatural hush, it may be a message from nature itself. Even as the storm approaches, the birds remain still, their bodies tense with anticipation. They don't just wait, they listen, and they learn. The silence before a storm is not empty, it's a language, a story told in stillness. Every hush, every pause is a lesson passed down through the generations. What comes next is not just about survival, it's about the quiet intelligence of birds. As the first drops begin to fall, they will move, but not in panic. They will move with purpose, guided by the same instincts that have kept them alive for centuries. Number 2. The language of calls is a secret code only birds understand. Each chirp, whistle, and screech carries meaning beyond sound. It's a message of danger, a signal of safety, or a call to gather. In your yard, the black-capped chickadee doesn't just warn others of a predator. It tells them exactly which one and how close it is. This precise communication is a survival tool passed down through generations, shaping the flock's ability to react in split seconds. What this means for you is that even the quietest moments in your backyard hold stories of survival, written in a language only the birds know. But how does this knowledge endure through the predator? Imagine a chickadee's call as a map, each note a marker pointing to survival. The frequency and duration of the alarm call can mean the difference between life and death, as the bird's ancestors have taught them. According to research from the University of Washington, chickadees can distinguish between a hawk and a human based on the sound alone, adapting their behavior accordingly. This is not just instinct, it's a learned response, refined over time by those who came before. In your yard, you might not understand the call, but your birds do, each note a piece of a puzzle that keeps them safe. And yet, this note a marker piece of the keeps them safe. These calls are more than warnings. They are a living archive of survival, carried across generations like a whispered secret. The chickadee's ability to interpret the subtlest changes in sound is a gift from their past, a legacy of those who learn to listen. Even in the face of new threats, the birds adapt, using their inherited knowledge to navigate the unknown. What you hear in your yard is a conversation older than memory, a language that ensures every chickadee, even those born in the present, knows how to survive. But how does a young bird learn to decode this language before it's too late? Number 3. The storm survival strategy is a silent ballet of instinct and precision. As the sky darkens and the wind howls, birds like the American robin don't panic. Instead, they rely on an ancient map built into their bones. This map, guided by the Earth's magnetic field, allows them to find the safest hiding spots even when the world is cloaked in rain and thunder. Their eyes may not see the way ahead, but their inner compass never falters. This ability is not learned, it's written into their very being, a legacy of survival across millennia. What this means for you is that, even in the chaos of a storm, your yard is a refuge for these quiet navigators. In the heart of the storm, the eastern bluebird isn't just reacting, it's reading the air. It senses the subtle shifts in wind direction, the barely perceptible changes in pressure that humans can't feel. This ability is not magic, it's biology. These birds have specialized nerve cells in their beaks that detect the Earth's magnetic field and other environmental cues. When the wind changes, they adjust, moving just enough to stay safe. It's a language of the air, spoken in whispers that only they can hear. This silent dialogue with the world is their shield against the storm's fury. But how do they find the lowest, most sheltered part of the tree when visibility is gone? The answer lies in the Earth's magnetic field, a guide that never sleeps. Even in the worst of storms, these birds can feel the pull of the planet beneath their feet. It's a lifeline that leads them to safety when all other paths are blocked. And yet, this is just one piece of their survival puzzle. There's more to the story, more ways these birds outwit the elements. What happens when the storm is over and the air is still? That's where the real magic begins. Number 4. The nest defense call. It's a sharp, urgent sound that carries through the trees like a warning. House wrens use this call to signal not just to their mate, but to every bird in the vicinity. This unique alarm is so specific that even neighboring species can recognize it as a sign of danger. The Audubon Society has noted that this call acts as a communal alert system, bringing birds together in a shared response. What this means for you is that your yard becomes a hub of collective survival, where every call matters. The next time you hear it, you'll understand its power. The next time you hear it, you'll understand its power. This call is not random. It's a rhythmic, repeated sequence that echoes through the forest. Each note is precise, carrying information about the threat and the location of the danger. Nearby birds like chickadees and titmice may join in, amplifying the warning. The University of California, Berkeley has studied how these calls can spark a chain reaction, drawing attention from birds far and wide. It's a language of survival, spoken in sharp tones and synchronized timing. This moment reveals the strength of cooperation in the wild. The nest defense call is more than a cry. It's a lifeline for the entire neighborhood. It's a moment when silence turns to sound and isolation becomes unity. Birds that never interact otherwise join forces in this single, vital act. This call ensures that not just one family, but many can protect their young. The forest becomes a chorus of voices, each one a shield for another. But even with this warning system, danger can still find its way through. What happens when the call is not enough? Number 5. The food alert system. Picture this. A cold morning, frost on the ground, and a northern cardinal perched nearby, watching. Its sharp eyes scan the yard, not just for seeds, but for the movement of others. In a 2018 study from the AUK, scientists observed how these birds follow one another like a silent chain, each one acting as a scout. This is not random behavior. It's a survival strategy, a way to pool knowledge and avoid the waste of searching alone. What this means for you is that your yard is not just a place for feeding, but a hub of quiet communication and shared survival. When a food source runs dry, a bird doesn't just leave. It calls out, a sharp, high-pitched note that echoes through the trees. This is no ordinary sound. It's a signal to others that the feast is gone. The National Audubon Society notes that this behavior is especially crucial in harsh winters, when energy is precious. By sharing this news, birds avoid wasting time and energy on empty pursuits. They are like ancient sentinels, passing along whispers of survival. In this way, the food alert system becomes a lifeline, a way to conserve strength for the days ahead. And this is just the beginning of how they communicate in ways we are only now beginning to understand. But here's the twist. Not every alert is a warning. Sometimes the call is a signal of discovery. When one bird finds a new source of food, it doesn't keep it to itself. Instead, it shares the location with others, even if it means competition. This is a delicate balance, a dance of cooperation and self-interest. The birds are not just surviving, they are thriving through the strength of their community. What this means for you is that your yard is part of a much larger story, one written in the calls of birds and the choices they make. And as you watch, you may begin to hear the unsung language of survival. Number 6. The nighttime warning. When the world is cloaked in darkness, some birds do not retreat into silence. Instead, they use a secret language of sound and motion to keep each other safe. Great tits, for instance, emit low-frequency calls that ripple through the trees like a whispered alarm. These calls are so subtle that they avoid attracting predators while still carrying vital information. Your yard might be home to birds that communicate this way, using the night not as a time of vulnerability, but as a moment of shared vigilance. This quiet coordination ensures that even in the blackest hours, the flock remains watchful and alert to Tao. Beyond sound, these birds also use flight as a language of survival. Sudden, erratic movements through the canopy mimic the flight of birds in distress, triggering a chain reaction of awareness among the flock. This is not just a random flapping, it is a carefully choreographed response, passed down through generations. In your yard, this may look like a sudden burst of wings from a hidden branch, followed by others taking flight in unison. It's a silent pact among birds that even the darkest night cannot erase their unity. This behavior has been observed in dense foliage roosts, where visibility is low but communication is sharp. What this means for you is that even in the stillness of night, your backyard is alive with unseen conversations. These nighttime warnings are a testament to the intelligence and cooperation found among birds. The next time you hear an unusual sound or see a sudden flurry of wings, know that it is part of a greater story of survival. But this is only one piece of the puzzle. There are other mysteries still hidden in the silence of the dark, waiting to be uncovered. In the dead of night, when the wind is still and the sky is dark, they whisper warnings, not with words, but with sound and flight. A single note, a flick of the wing, a pulse in the air. It is a language older than time, one that carries the weight of survival. You listen, not just with your ears, but with your soul. And in that moment you realize they're not just birds, they're survivors, watching, listening, warning, just like you. There is a moment in the night when the world holds its breath. You feel it, too, the tension in the air, the hush that comes before the storm. And then, a single bird breaks the silence. A sound so small, so fragile, it seems it might be swallowed by the dark. But it is not. It echoes. It is heard. And from the shadows others respond. You understand, in that instant, that survival is not just about strength. It is about trust, about connection, about knowing you are not alone. And in that knowledge, you are not alone. What have you noticed your backyard birds doing that you never understood before? Share your observations in the comments. We love hearing your stories. Whether you're a casual observer or a seasoned birder, your insights matter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.